Hi everyone, welcome back to a follow-up video with the Amazfit. This is the GTR version that I've had now for 11 days. So this video, the purpose of it is just to update you. Now that I've had quite a bit of time on with it, I can give you a full update on battery life. Is it going to meet that claim? And well, let's talk about that first. So I'm losing about 4% a day if I don't use the GPS, the tracking. That really does burn through it. So my exercise that I did with the watch, I went for a bike ride, and more about that later on. But that was on for about the GPS tracking for about 1 hour and 45 minutes. And that's where I lost about 10% battery life there. So you're going to get approximately, I would say, 20 days if you're not doing any of that, the sports tracking, if you're not really too fussed about that and you don't want to use it. The GPS definitely does burn through the battery in here. So the watch face I have right now, there's over 100 and they keep adding more. You download them and sync it to the phone via Bluetooth. It does take a little while. And I've noticed that I think this one is the best so far. That's one of the first ones I came across. And this watch face gives me a lot better visibility. I can actually see the time directly in sunlight, whereas some of the other watch faces where the text is smaller, you will struggle a little bit. So the build of it, very good. I have actually snagged this on a door handle. If you've ever done that before on a door that's not fully open, you go to walk past and then you end up somehow snagging your watch. Did that. I thought I could have actually ripped this strap off. So that was a good a test there of the strength of these little clips in here. So you can remove these if you just simply put on this little tab here. You can get them out and you can change, of course, the watch straps. So the default one they use, this rubber, very comfortable, and you can see it's got a bit of give in it, a bit of stretch, and I think that's what saved it because it stretched quite a bit. And that also allows you to put it on quite tight when you're getting the heart rate readouts. Now I haven't used the continual always on display mode because that really does burn through the battery life. But I set the timer to 15 seconds, which is the maximum if you're interested in that. So the heart rate sensor, I'm finding that I think is pretty accurate, comparing that to say my Garmin that I use. It's got a chest mounted one that I used to use that when I was going to the gym and things, exercising. I think more or less, it's probably not quite as accurate, but that is fine. Now, there's still that lag. I've had quite a few firmware updates. In fact, there was a firmware update that just came through yesterday, or because I hadn't checked the Bluetooth app. Could have been a couple of days ago. And that updated a few things. It updates the resources, then the firmware, and it even updated the GPS, which is the assisted GPS. So you can see there the steps I've done today. You can get a history of that. That's just going back into to the heart rate reader there. You can see when you go through the different menus, there is a little bit of lag. I mean, this doesn't seem to be running at 60 hertz, the screen, I don't think, or it's not 60 frames per second. It just looks quite choppy. So this button, as I pointed out in the first video, I go over this in a little bit of detail, that then you can assign to different things if you wanted to through the settings. And it is pretty straightforward. So swiping up here, that's where you get into your menu. You can go through your status. That's just your current workouts and things. The workouts, so I've noticed here that it's not particularly accurate. A little bit on that now, actually. I did do a test and I went mountain biking. So let's see how it tracked compared to my mobile phone. Okay, so I'm halfway through my workout here, my ride. It's 46 minutes and I've done 8.4 kilometers according to the watch's GPS. Now with Google Fit, which I'm tracking currently with the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, which I'm recording this on, it's telling me I've done 8.8. So there is a slight difference. Now the heart rate monitor, that seems to be tracking well. I have got my heart rate right up to 170 on the very steep climb here. Alright, so I'm just back here and it's reporting that I've done 17.27 kilometers when in fact with Google Fit, and I know the typical loop that I do is actually 19 kilometers, just a fraction over. So yeah, the GPS accuracy, not so accurate with just the watch tracking me here. So as you can see from that the tracking is not amazing. It's about a margin of error, I would say, of around 7% or so. So the app for me, Amazfit, for some reason wanted me to keep logging in and then it would go and crash. So I had to delete the app, uninstall it basically, and reinstall it. So I don't have access anymore to actually zoom into this map and show you some more details here and show you my sleep tracking and things like that. Unfortunately, because of that, I don't know what happened. But this was the range I got here. So the 13.3 kilometers, the phone itself was reporting when I was tracking with Google Fit about 19, which I believe is more accurate. So that's quite a big difference here. Now, some people would say, well, 7% is not much. Yes, you've got the GPS tracking within the watch itself, which is great to have, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it for that, but it's just I wish it was a little bit more accurate. Now, that recent update that came through that did update the AGPS, I'm seeing in my small test, I've only just walked a couple of kilometers, it still seems to be a little bit out. There's still a bit there. I mean, you walk 2 kilometers and you might have actually walked about 2.1. That's the problem there. So what is happening when I see the GPS, because I came back along the same road. So I rode down from my house, went all around my normal route that I go on, the route that I go through with my mountain bike. And you see, coming back on the same road, look at the difference between them. So this is what is happening a lot. It just cuts corners or jumps the accuracy. And that's why there is that big difference with the GPS accuracy there, which is really quite annoying. So going on to this, I want to bring this up, that the sleep information, so you can see 5 hours and 46 minutes. That is actually, I think, pretty accurate here. I know some people have commented on my first video that they said that with the watch, it's only tracking just a few hours and not working properly for them. That's because you need to put it on quite hard. You need to strap it on, because I think it's every 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, it's checking on your heart rate and things. That's how it knows that if you're resting or not. And of course with the other sensors, if you're moving around and getting up. And I did actually wake up there because I've got young children, and that's what happens. You know, got screaming babies at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's why I was awake for 1 hour there. So that's all fun. So the rear of the watch, you've got those little tiny connectors. So that locks on with the magnet when you put the base on it. That's in my first video to charge it. Charging time, I haven't timed it exactly. It's a couple of hours. And as mentioned, I'm happy with the battery life so far. So these are the sensors here. You've got a little light in there that flashes when it's taking and monitoring your heart rate. It's checking, I don't know, that somehow it sees through your skin and sees your blood flowing through there. And that's how they calculate that there with the watch. Now, one of the good things I like about this watch, and it's the same as my Mi Band 3 that I have, is the fact that I never miss calls. As long as I got Bluetooth on my phone, that is. Because as soon as I get a phone call coming through, if I'm in silent mode on my phone, which can be annoying, all the beeps, because I get so many DMs on Twitter and YouTube, there's always these alerts coming through, and I know I should disable them and whatever, but I just put it in silent on my phone. But it'll vibrate, so you get an incoming call, it'll come up on the screen, and it vibrates away, and that I find is very handy, so I don't miss any calls that way, which is really good. The other thing too is with the alarms, I do actually use that, so when you set up alarm in the app, you can then, of course, that syncs through to the phone, and that is another way that if you're using it for your sleep monitoring, then you've got it on, and even if you just got it next to your, say, your bedside cabinet, it vibrates away and it wakes you up. So I use it as alarm, so that's quite useful there. So overall, I think this is a shorter video here. I think this is a decent watch. The build quality is good, but it's really just a larger screen and just with a few extra things really compared to the Mi Band 4. Now, if you want to see more about the menus that I go through, the different workout modes and all that, that is in the first video. There is a link of that one in the description of this video, and it should be popping up right now, right here in the corner. So make sure you check that as well. I think the letdown is definitely the tracking. If you want perfect tracking, then you're not going to get it out of this smart watch right here with the GPS. As mentioned, it just seems to be quite a bit off, and the battery life is impressive for me. I'm happy to only really have to charge this, I would say, every 20 days or so, because I don't plan to use it for tracking any exercises that I do. So I go mountain biking next time, I'll be using my phone, because this is just too inaccurate for me.